We are excited to have some of our current DC students as well as the Dean of LACC, Dr. Jonathan Egan. As we go through the webinar today, please feel free to type in your questions if you have any. If we are not able to answer them immediately, we will get back to you via email. With that said, my name is Liz Cruz. I am the admissions manager here at SCU. I will be helping out with asking our students as well as Dr. Egan some questions. I'm going to ask our panelists at this point to please introduce themselves.
My name is Jared Covarrubias. I'm a Term 7 student.
Hello everyone, my name is Holly Stevens and I'm a Term 7 DC student.
Hi, I'm Keiko Hamano and I am Term 10 DC.
Hi, I'm Katie Bulkley and I'm a Term 3 DC student.
Hello, I'm Dr. Jonathan Egan. I'm the Dean of the Chiropractic program.
Thank you. Now, the point of this webinar is that while we do have information on our website, such as clerkship information, rotations, the curriculum, course listings, it's really not the same for our prospective students. Hearing it from the admissions advisors, which typically you guys do, it's not the same hearing it from our actual students. So with that said, we have a few questions we will be asking you guys today. And with that said, we'll go ahead and get started. So you have learned a lot in the program so far, but of all of the learnings, what are some of the elements that stood out to you the most and why?
So I'll start us off. So some of the elements that I enjoyed most to learn and that I didn't expect to learn was the huge scope of integrative medicine in general. So I came into the chiropractic program expecting to learn your anatomy, your physiology, your biomechanics, your pathology with the different infectious diseases and everything else. But I was really surprised to learn, even in all those classes, the different ways we can approach all those different diseases, how we can fix different errors in the biomechanics with different treatment options. And that's something that I've really begun to enjoy, especially now that I'm heading into clinic and being able to use all those different approaches with different cases.
Cool.
I guess I can go. From the very beginning in term 1, I think one of the coolest experiences was going into the cadaver lab. Maybe some people are freaked out by that, but I really enjoyed it, and I took the additional dissection selectives because I just enjoyed it so much, and I felt like it was a really, really good learning tool, especially at that point when we were taking anatomy and physiology, and that was really cool.
That's great. Were you looking forward to that before you got here, or did that surprise you that you enjoyed it as much as you
No, I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Because I had had some experience in cadaver labs before, but not actual dissection, which was kind of the most fun.
Yeah, it's extremely helpful, especially when you're learning your anatomy, and with chiropractic, we're working hands-on so much. So being able to have that x-ray vision and actually look what is actually going on, what does the muscles look like, what do the joints look like, it's so great because now going back into our chiropractic class, you can actually turn that x-ray vision on and know what you're feeling. So that was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, Keiko, you mentioned selectives. Would you be able to add a little bit, expand a little bit more about our selectives?
Oh, sure. So for the selective courses, I'm not sure when they start now because when they started for term, okay, so they started for term 4 for me, but they're classes that are offered in addition to our core curriculum. So usually they're weekend classes. Sometimes they'll be offered during the week as well, but they're just additional classes that you can take on either technique. So I took the pediatric manipulation selective, I've taken the dissection selectives, and I think I've taken a bunch of the technique ones. So there's all sports medicine ones. So there are different tracks that you can go into for the selectives. There's functional medicine, which was a really, really interesting one as well. So it's just a way to dive deeper into different subjects that you're not necessarily going to get a lot of in the core curriculum, which I found very, very helpful, and I liked them a lot.
So you guys have probably all taken some. You're starting now, probably.
I've taken one selective so far. Yeah.
What did you start with?
So I'm doing the sports medicine track program, and the first selective I took was emergency cardiac emergency procedures. So we really delved into what an EMT does, and then in the sports medicine chiropractic side, what you would do on the sidelines of a field for emergencies. So we went over CPR and a lot of other fun things like that. It was a
Jumped
weekend
right
class. We jumped right in. Yeah, my
Yeah.
very first one.
Yeah.
But it was really cool because it was the ATC of Whittier College.
Mhm.
So the certified athletic trainer over there came and taught the class. So we really got to hear his experience and what it's like actually working in the field. So that was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, how about you guys? What have you done selective wise?
One of my favorites has definitely been the sports massage. And massage each other all weekend long. But next weekend, I'm scheduled to take concepts of a team physician.
Mhm.
So I'm very excited
Same.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in that one too.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So we've taken, technique courses, but there are so many things that are offered, and just whatever you're interested in, I highly recommend signing up for those. Yep.
That's great.
Definitely agree. For me, I've been taking the functional medicine selectives. So I've done 3 of them so far, and there's out of 6. So when I'm done, I'll be able to get a certificate of completion of the functional medicine track, which is huge because that can go towards additional accreditation if I wanted to pursue, advanced certifications or diplomates in the field of chiropractic. Also, I just started doing the advanced imaging selectives, which is also really cool because right now we're doing the MRI. So you learn much more about how to look at an MRI and how to assess one, as well as the ultrasound, how to use it and how to look at the imaging from it, which for clinical purposes is amazing that we're able to even delve that deep on campus.
That's great. In any given term, we have about 20 to 30 of these elective courses that we offer. It's a pretty good number.
Good solution. I can't wait to take yoga.
That is true, yeah.
And also one that I know I need to take
Yes.
is medical Spanish terminology.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
one
yeah.
So
too.
definitely
That's
need that
brand
one.
new.
It's
Yeah,
going
it
to be
is.
new.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Excited about that.
Well, speaking of fun classes, what classes have been your favorite and what have you liked about them?
I think my favorite class, honestly, was probably CP4, which is when we finally starting to just, because you work your entire year just working on that palpation and taking it slow, and you really get to learn just how to have that touch with, someone else's body and being able to assess proper motion, but then finally being able to start practicing your adjustments. For me, that was an awesome class to take. And I would say close second to that was probably our neurology class, just because I have a huge fascination with the brain. So being able to really learn neurology at a very deep, complex level, I really enjoyed that.
Shockingly enough, I think my favorite class so far has been our image interpretation,
Oh, yeah?
which is one of the hardest classes in our curriculum. Everybody goes, ooh. But it was fun for me. Of course, it was challenging. It was the hardest challenge of the term. But because it was fun, I put my best effort into it. I ended up excelling in it. And just being able to see an image and say, this is what's wrong, and write a report and know that you have somebody's life in your hands just because you're writing that report was just an amazing feeling for me.
That's great.
What about you? You've had all the
Yeah,
classes.
you have-
I was gonna say on term 10, when was the last time I took a DC class? I'm trying to think of definitely the technique classes. I think the one that I really enjoyed the most was CP5. I'm pretty sure that was CP5, where we were learning about different special techniques and then integrating those. And we had a lot of lab time, which was great because we would learn things like McKenzie or Mulligan and different modalities that, again, we're not going over in other classes that we were able to apply right then and there in our lab classes. So that was one of my favorite classes. And then our rehab class as well was great. So all the practical applications are very useful, especially now in clinic. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little newbie here, still at school, just my third term, so
So you love GA.
all the classes. I haven't taken any of those classes, but we have some really amazing professors in the basic science classes with the general anatomy and then the functional anatomy and biomechanics of the spine and then extremities. With those are the hard classes for your first few years, and professors are so wonderful. If you really take the time to delve into that, it'll help. It's helped me a lot in the CP classes and all the extra classes that we have on top of that. But I mean, today was fun in my CP3 class. We found trigger points on people. So we got to start hurting people.
Yeah. Back to the professors. One of the things that I absolutely loved when I first came here was that your professors want you to excel. It was a total culture shock because that's not exactly what it's like in undergrad. You know, if you fail, you fail. Whereas here, if you're struggling, they say, come to me, I will help you. I'll do everything I can do on my end. And I just felt like, you know, we are going to enter their profession soon. So they want us to be the best we can be. And that just support was one of my favorite things about coming to chiropractic school.
Yeah, that was the coolest, I think, at orientation. I think you might have said this, but I know a few people did, that once you graduate, you're not just a graduate, you're a colleague. You know, you're going to be on the same level as your professors, and they really treat you like that while you're in school. And that is so cool to feel that, you know, I'm going to be doctor. I'm going to be just like them. They're so cool. It really lifts you up. It makes you want to do better and be better.
Yeah. I'll definitely add on to that with the academic support office here on campus. Really does give you the support you need. Like, I know if I'm ever struggling in any of the classes, I can go to either the professor directly and ask for help. I could ask the other students for help, or there's almost always tutors. I think there's always tutors in the library or in the open labs when the times are available where you can go in and get the help you need with the very specific questions and the things you don't understand. And not all other schools always have that opportunity. So definitely being able to take advantage of that has been extremely helpful, especially for the chiropractic procedures and, like Holly was saying, the x-ray and imaging. You have to take your time in, but it's awesome getting the help for it.
Yeah, that is a neat observation. And I felt that when I was a student, but just like you are going to be the same title, you're going to be peers. And when you graduate from undergrad, you know, that is not true for all the teachers that you've had. But that is true.
Yeah, and then we even have some recent graduates in our classes teaching me. You know, in my CP3 class, they have someone who just graduated, and it's really cool because I was able to do some of the extracurricular clubs that we did. We did a trip to DC, and he was there, and I was able to bond and learn from him. And now he's my professor, so it's really interesting, and it's really cool that you do become a family, and you do get to look up to these people that you realize in 3 years you're going to be on that same level. It's really cool.
Very exciting. Well, one of you guys mentioned techniques earlier when we spoke about our selectives. Some of our listeners might be interested in learning a little bit more about the different techniques. So what are some of the techniques you have learned so far, and how do they help patients?
So I'll start with this also. There's so many different techniques in the chiropractic profession, and I think all of them have a time and place. Personally, for me, what I've been studying has been sacral occipital technique, or SOT, as well as upper cervical technique. And what's amazing about this profession and about SCU is that it gives you a chance to learn the different techniques and how to apply them to specific patients or specific patient presentations, because you'll begin to recognize certain patterns within people, and you can immediately put on that, like, for me, my SOT hat, and be like, all right, this person is like a perfect case of like a category 2 patient, and this kind of treatment will directly help. But then I can go back and use like strategies we learned in our rehab strategies class to come in and continue progressing that patient to eventually be in at-home care. And same thing with an upper cervical patient. Like if someone comes in with chronic migraines, that might be a good indication for me to try to use more of an upper cervical technique, because that might be able to help them more specifically in that case in that time. So you can begin to pull and learn. And what's awesome is SCU usually literally helps bring on different programs and different techniques onto campus. Like right now, we actually have a sacral occipital technique series here on campus, which makes it really easy for not just students, but other doctors to come and learn while here, which is amazing.
One of my favorite parts about our curriculum is that we are, our basis is diversified. So we learn the functional biomechanics, and we understand how each bone in your body moves. And from there, we can decide which way is the best way to make it move for that patient. Because with a hypermobile patient, SOT is a great great technique because it's very gentle. So is the activator method, where some of our listeners may have seen. It kind of looks like a little gun thing where it just kind of gives you a little nudge. There's so many ways to move the bones, and you just have to decide which is going to be the best for that patient.
Yeah, I think also taking into account that there are different techniques that work with different populations. So for myself, when I took the pediatric manipulation course, that was something that then led me to train in the Webster technique, which is not specifically for pregnant patients, but it can be utilized with pregnant patients because it's a very gentle technique, and you have the the like pregnancy pillows that you use, and then also with SOT, you can also block with geriatric patients or patients who are hypermobile, like you said. Same thing with activator. That's good for populations that aren't able to receive a high velocity, low amplitude adjustment. So it's a good way for us to diversify our practice. That's what I did there. And just have as many tools in your tool belt or toolbox as possible, and be able to use with anyone that comes into your office.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that, you know, we do have classes or there's seminars offered, but then there's also clubs on campus for whatever technique you're interested in. You can go and just do a meeting during lunch and meet people who want to learn the same things you want to learn, and you get to learn from your peers and the students, and that's really cool. And as a baby chiropractor still, I haven't been able to take those classes and I haven't started adjusting yet, but I've been able to slowly learn a little bit. So by the time it does come time to pick my selectives, I know what I'm interested in. So there's a lot of resources for you, even when you're just starting out, to start figuring out what you do want to learn. So I like that.
And one thing, because you haven't started, I love that we palpate for a full year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Before we go and thrust and make the joints move, you know, our palpation skills grow so much in that first year. So you are so confident when you start getting to adjust in term 4.
Yeah. I went through and counted, and there's hundreds of hours of diversified adjustment courses, not including the palpation courses. So this is actually like starting where you said in term 4. And then there's a lot of selectives you guys mentioned on a lot of techniques. There's the clubs. And then I think some of what you're talking about is like seminars that actually come to campus too. So there's a whole host of possible ways.
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunities. And again, with the clubs, we even have some doctors that actively practice those techniques come onto campus and teach us that technique directly from them, how they practice, and then how they use certain techniques with those certain patients. So it's not just students teaching students or other people that kind of know the technique. It's doctors out in the field every day taking their time to be with us, which is awesome.
Thank you. Now, I know the majority of you guys are currently in the clinic. Could you tell us a little bit about your clinical experience you've had here so far?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I'm for the salon and clinic, which I've really, really enjoyed our clinic system, that you start out in the University Health Center, and then from there you're assigned to a base clinic, and then you also have satellite clinics and private practice rotations. I feel like that gives you so many opportunities to learn from different doctors in the field, and also seek out maybe different populations that you wouldn't normally see. Here at the health center, we see a lot of students, but depending on who your clinician is, you may see more pediatric patients or more geriatric patients. And then also in the private practice rotations, you could go to a sports medicine clinic or any different populations. I was at the Whittier Resource Center, which is our satellite clinic that offers chiropractic for $5 a visit to the community in Whittier. So that was something that I really enjoyed. And I think that you get a variety of experiences from the different doctors that you're able to work with. So it's really an amazing experience.
That one's like a clinic kind of for underserved population, right?
Yes.
So I just started clinic. You start clinic in term 7, and I am here on campus at the University Health Center. And my doctor is my supervising clinician is the one who sees the most pediatric patients on campus. So my first patient encounter was a 3-month-old baby, and it was amazing.
That's so
and
cool.
I haven't decided to go into pediatrics, but just seeing that, just maybe I will. I don't know yet. I still have a year to figure that out. But I'm excited. I do see students, mostly students, but there's also the community patients that are really nice to work with. And it's so rewarding taking everything I've learned the last 2 years and having to put all the puzzle pieces together to, find what's best for this patient. What are they presenting with? All right, they're presenting with this, got to put that together with this. And all right, let's do this on you. So, and their care is really in your hands, and knowing that is just the best feeling, and a feeling I've been looking forward to for 2 years.
Yeah, because you're just entering clinic
Yeah.
now. So maybe you guys can talk about how the clinic in term 7, for example, helped you kind of transition from the classroom into, really full-time kind of clinical care. Maybe to talk about that a little bit.
So for me, like what Dr. Egan was saying, that transition, we've had all these different classes of clinical reasoning and report, like being able to write reports and being able to write some notes, but then being able to put it all together. You have these ideas in your head that you're going to be able to do when you're in the situation. Like you're like, all right, I got this, I know how to do this.
Right.
And then you get in the room with the patient and you get through the whole thing, that whole patient experience, and then you walk out, and then you get that immediate feedback from both your senior interns as well as from the clinician, like, did you do this? And you're like, oh, I didn't think about doing that. And so it's a great opportunity to get that immediate feedback from your clinicians, from other peers and other senior interns who are upper termers who are still in the University Health Clinic about just how to write your notes better, how to write your reports better, how to write a better management plan, how to basically put it all together. And for me, it's like, I'm just one brain. So when I see a patient, I have this idea of how I'm going to treat that patient. But then we walk out of the room and kind of discuss the patient presentation and kind of like treatment, different ways to treat the patient. And they challenge me like, all right, you're comfortable doing this, but try doing X, Y, Z instead. And let's see what other results we can get with that. And for me, that was actually a pleasant surprise because I thought I was going to be able to go in there and kind of do what I want and rock it. But being challenged that way has definitely opened up my eyes to exploring different things now. And that was definitely a good opportunity.
Yeah, I have to say that my new patient exam and encounter from when I was a 7th term student to now as a 10th term student is drastically different. So I'd say that's a plus.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, just taking something from every encounter and learning as you go. And when you have to report to your supervising clinician and having them ask you, well, did you ask this? Or did you think about this? That really helps to get you to start expanding your mind of what the possibilities are for whether it's the differential diagnosis that you're going through or creating a management plan and treatment plan for the patient. So I think that has been really great. And it felt a little bit like a sink or swim when you first get in there in 7th term. You're like, I'm drowning, I'm sweaty palms, I'm working down my face. And that first patient, I just remember taking a really long time. But yeah, now you just kind of roll with it and you find your flow and you get through things pretty easily, I think. Or maybe not easily, but with more ease.
What I think is really cool too is, I'm not in clinic yet, but as a student, they're saying they have students as their patients. That's where it comes to us, we have to go in and learn, and it's really cool to see, okay, I'm going to be in your shoes soon. How are you doing this? What do I need to know when I get there? And what if you do take advantage of it, which for students it's free. When you take advantage of that, you really get this other learning, on the actually watching what's going on. And what I've seen and is really cool is we have 2 different clinics available on campus. We have the health center. We also have the sports medicine clinic as well. So I've been able to see how the sports medicine clinic treats patients and how the regular clinic treats patients. And, the treatment comes out beautiful both ways, but just the situation and the setup of, the bay, open bay in the sports medicine clinic where it's one room with a few different tables versus a private room in the clinic, it's really cool to see how even just those slight differences can affect patient outcome too. So that's awesome.
Yeah, taking advantage of the free chiropractic care here on campus is the best opportunity because I took advantage of it from term 1 to term 6. And when I got into clinic, I knew exactly what my clinician expected of me. I knew kind of the flow that had been going on. And also when I took my ICE exam, you know, I was comfortable in all those rooms, whereas I was next to somebody who's like, I've never been in this health center before. Yeah. So just take advantage of it. Go see what it's like and, you know, have the patience for the 7th termers because you will be in their shoes one day. And yeah. And
as early as term 3, you can start a clinic observation selective. So you can even go out in the community. What term 5 and 6, you can start doing histories and exams on patients in those courses. So you can start clinic within your first year.
Yeah, I have this SFO, the student field observation on Fridays. So even now as a 3rd termer, I go in and I watch a female chiropractor who I've actually never had experience with a female chiropractor. That was my first person. I want to see how a female is going to do it, you know, because there are certain differences within our own anatomy that we need to be cautious of while we're treating patients. So it's been really interesting and really eye-opening to say, oh, it's the same but slightly different, and it's really awesome to have that.
That's great.
Nice, thank you. Now, one of the greatest things about studying in any program here at SCU is the opportunities to be part of the community outside of the classroom. In what ways have you taken advantage of the SCU experience outside the classroom?
So,
We're like, class a little bit earlier, so feel free to
So one of the biggest things for me, as well as for Holly and Katie, was SACA, which is the Student American Chiropractic Association. And that is a national organization for chiropractors, and they have the student group that's within it. And it is a whole different world in itself within the chiropractic profession because there's the different, you know, councils within each one. So there's like rehab council, sports council, pediatric council, and this is a great opportunity that is given to the students to explore specific parts within the profession at a national level. And being a part of SACA allows you to speak with other students, speak with other professors from other schools, and speak with doctors all throughout the United States to gain a different perspective, ask them what their treatment is like at their state, what treatment options are available in each state, because each state does have different laws. So that kind of gives you a bigger scope. And then definitely being involved within that community has made me like even so much more excited to be a part of this profession because I see all the good we can do.
Right. My experience with SACA, I went in term 2 to Washington, D.C. to lobby for expansion of chiropractic coverage with getting reimbursement and just chiropractic accessibility. And you go into one of the 3 congressional buildings in Washington, D.C., and you have your little name tag on in your suit, and you say, I'm representing the American Chiropractic Association, and they treat you like a doctor. And that was my first experience of stepping out of the student world and into the chiropractic profession. It was so rewarding, and even this year, trying to get people to go on the trip again. We actually have 69 students going to Washington this year.
So proud.
But what I say is you can learn every technique that you want to, but unless you have a law supporting you, you're not allowed to practice it. So it's just as important to be involved in the lawmaking as it is to be a good doctor. So you have to find that balance. But I know there's so many also volunteer opportunities with Healing Hands for Humanity. Do either of you guys want to talk about that?
Yeah, so since from the very beginning, I was involved in a bunch of different clubs on campus. Right now, since I'm not on campus as much, I'm not as actively involved in the meetings and all of those things, but there's Healing Hands for Humanity, which is our outreach club. So even from very early on in your career here, you can start going out and helping with different events in the community. There's health fairs. We just had one in Anaheim. And so that's a great opportunity to get out there and help the community, as well as I've always been involved with the Associated Student Body on campus. Right now I'm still a part of the e-board, executive board, sorry, all these abbreviations I don't know. And also with the Delta Tau Alpha, which is the Honor Society, which is also based with community service and academics. So those are some of the other clubs. But I was a part of SACA and also the Student California Chiropractic Association. I went to lobby in Sacramento, which is just a day trip that we take. But that was a really great experience too. And getting to meet doctors from all over California was a really great experience. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to, interact on a state level and the national level, and then even our local level as well with the H3, the Helping Hands for Humanity. And then another club that I'm involved with is the League of Chiropractic Women. And we are about to start, and we're partnering with the CCA, the California version of SACA. We're doing what we're calling Tampsgiving, which is getting some donations of supplies for women, but also we expanded to children and men to donate to homeless populations in our community. So there's a lot of different outreach for even just around school that we're really a part of too.
I almost forgot about. So we're talking about the state level, the national level. There's also an international level as well. I was a part of the World Congress of Chiropractic Students, which is the only international organization for students in chiropractic. And I was able to travel to Paris for the annual general meeting, which was incredible to be able to meet chiropractic students from all over the world. So you take it globally and you learn about what chiropractic is in different countries and what's regulated, what's not, and you see kind of beyond what we are in our bubble here, which was really, really cool too. So.
And then they went to South Africa, and now they're going to Australia.
Australia.
So yeah, it's been great. And I think that the clubs on campus are just another way for you to enrich your experience here at SCU. And there are a lot of people who are very focused on just the academics and they're commuting back and forth, but I think that in order to get a very enriching experience from everything that's offered here on campus, to be involved in clubs is kind of a big part of it. So
it's a little scary to be like, I have to study for this quiz today. I can't go to that club meeting. It's a little scary to choose clubs over studying sometimes, but it's the most rewarding decision you can ever make.
Oh yeah, it helps your mental mind state too, to come out of that, of hectic studying for something and just, you're still going to be advancing your education by going to these things and learning something that you're not necessarily going to learn in class. And it just really gives you that chance to just kind of unwind for an hour or 45 minutes and listen to something that's you're still going to learn, but definitely taking advantage of clubs. And then the last thing I want to make sure we talk about is AIDS Life Cycle, which is huge for our sports medicine program. And I'm a baby, so I haven't gone, but I am so looking forward to being a part of it. Have any of you?
I've been 3 times.
Yeah, there you go.
And that has been an amazing experience. Each time it's very different, but being able to treat patients that are riding their bikes
can you describe what it is?
So the AIDS Life Cycle is a fundraiser to raise funds for AIDS research, and it also supports the Los Angeles LGBTQ Center as well as the San Francisco Center. And so we go as a team of student doctors and treat the participants, and whether they're going as a volunteer or they're going as a rider, they're riding from San Francisco to LA for 545 miles in a week. And it's a grueling ride. So they definitely need our assistance. And a lot of people come to you and say, I would not have been able to complete this without you. And it's such an amazing community of people to be a part of. They call it the love bubble. And it's just like really close to my heart.
And we're the only school that gets to do it.
For the chiropractic, yes. And acupuncture. We offer
and
acupuncture
massage
services.
Isn't there massage?
They have a massage tent, but that's for other practitioners.
Cool.
But SCU has been doing this for
20 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the campus experience. Where do students usually hang out here on
Fishbowl?
campus?
Chesney
I
Center.
think everywhere.
Glen.
Honestly, like there's literally students everywhere, like the Glen, which is like the outside area. There's plenty of tables to sit down and enjoy the trees and the grass and everything. Usually you'll find people out with their blanket, just like in the grass, relaxing, or with the soccer ball or football tossing around. And some people are hanging out in the fishbowl, which is just like a nice little area where I've been taking my naps lately.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we got.
So you know what a fishbowl is. It's our standard process pavilion, and it's basically a rounded building that one whole side is glass windows, so you can look out, and then the other half of the building is the student store, which I work at, which is cool. You can get the cool polos and all of that, but they recently, I think it was this past year, they've added guitars that you can go and play. They've got games, board games. They've got books, that aren't school related that you can read. The best part is the giant beanbags. They're not just beanbags, they're giant beanbags that you can take your naps in. With the weighted blankets. And then there's a, what is it? Not humidifier.
Essential oil
diffuser.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there just zoning out for your nap time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then all the tables where you can study at, and it's
Studying out.
Yeah.
And in the Chesney Center,
Oh, yeah.
it gets real rowdy. There's a couple ping pong tables, a foosball table, an air hockey table, and a sound system.
it gets
So
intense.
it's
in there.
intense. There
Yeah.
are study rooms. There is a room that has a glass ceiling, so that's one of my favorite rooms just because you get the natural light. And it has really nice recliners and couches, so I like to take a nap in there. If it's not too rowdy on the other side of the building. But then there's also, there's so many fridges for food for people to keep their lunch there, and microwaves, and
Get there early.
yeah, 6 microwaves just doesn't enough. There's always a line at lunch. But it's good because it's promoting people to bring healthy lunches.
Yeah. And then there's the quiet study areas too. So if you need to go in peace and quiet in the library, in the LRC Learning Resource Center, they have a specific room, part of that library that is always quiet. You have to whisper when you're in there. There's a couple couches for you to recline on, or the desk that basically you're in a cubicle. So if you're one to get distracted easily, then you can sit there and study with your headphones and know that you're not going to get someone waving at you from across the room or what have you. So there are lots of opportunities for quiet studying as well.
Yeah.
Definitely my favorite place to study on campus has been so many places.
Yeah.
Because you get bored. You study a lot. And so you got to change it up sometimes. I do take advantage of the single rooms in the Learning Resource Center.
Yeah.
It sits about 4 comfortably, but you can go in all by yourself, and it's a nice quiet space. There's whiteboards on the wall and you can rent markers for those so you can study. There's plenty of tables and study space in the Learning Resource Center. There's another student lounge called the G Lounge, which I didn't know existed in first term. So.
There's
also now
the O Lounge. There's
the O Lounge.
too. So we have a few lounges.
Yeah, we
There's a lot of
there's a few places to sneak
Yeah.
and just relax for a minute.
Yeah.
And then there's super secret places like the Zen Garden that you have to find. We can't tell you where. It's a secret.
That's great. But I hear you guys mentioning windows and being outside. Are any of you not from Southern California? Okay, so it's pretty cold, the weather.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm from Arizona,
Yeah.
so I'm used to hot. And then coming here, it's, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. You're walking outside. And what I really like too, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but in the morning, right by Chesney, we have a whole bunch of really tall, big pine trees. And you can smell the pine trees. And if you close your eyes, you can feel like you're in a little tiny 4-tree pine forest. So and then we've got the birds singing, we've got our parrots,
The parrots.
our group of parrots in the morning. It's really cool. So the outside atmosphere is awesome.
Yeah, that was a surprise for me when I moved here.
Mhm.
That there's no hallways between the buildings.
Yeah.
It's just very outdoors. The whole
It's
experience.
open.
It's very open. I love it.
It's awesome.
One of my favorite things first term was that there was always a friendly smile saying, "Good morning, like have a good day," even if I didn't know the person, but I saw them on a daily basis because it is a small community of a campus. It's always just friendly smiles, and always uplifting moods. So it's really nice.
Thank you. Well, one more question. Some of our listeners might have already been accepted into our program and will be joining our cohort on January 7th. So with that said, what advice would you give them as they prepare to get started here with us at SCU?
Great question.
So I would say definitely two things. First is to figure out how you learn best and how you study best, because one thing I'll recommend is called Learning How to Learn. It's like a online module thing you can find on Coursera, I believe. I might be wrong about that, but I didn't figure this out until like halfway through my 4th term, which is like one of the harder terms. After that, it made school so much easier because I like understood how I learned best. And so I started using more acronyms, doing like almost like crossword puzzles with my notes, handwriting, and using different study guides that I made. And that made a huge difference in my academic achievement and being able to study. So that's one. And then 2 is the complete 180 of that is learn how you relax best and learn how you can figure out how to de-stress and just mellow out and zone out for 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time.
Yeah, right. My best advice, when you enter the program, you will be assigned a student coach. And I have been a student coach for the last 4 terms, but ex-naying this summer. But I'm super sad because this is my last one. But take advantage of your student coach. Ask them questions. They are here to help you. So what I do with all my students is I give them my cell phone number and I say, if any time you need help, reach out to me and just ask questions, learn how to relax. And it's going to be a culture shock for a while, but you're going to learn how you learn and it'll become easier and just more rewarding the further you are in the program and the more you realize is in your brain after just a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think that when you get started and you're going through the first couple of weeks, give yourself time and don't be too hard on yourself because it's a lot to take in the first few weeks, especially if you're just coming back from being a student for a while or whatever your situation is. I think that you're gonna have a lot to take in. It's kind of overwhelming at first. So give yourself a break, learn how to relax. Self-care is extremely important in this type of program and environment. You are going to need to take care of yourself, eating right, exercising, getting outside, meditating, relaxing, yoga, whatever it means to you. Just do those things and you'll have a way better experience because it will be a lot. And just give yourself a break.
Absolutely. I think my 2 things are, number 1, most important is sleep. Is make sure you do find that magic number, and it is supposed to be 8 hours of sleep. Powering through and staying up all night, it doesn't work. And my undergrad, I did it, and it never worked. And now I focus on making sure I get my 8 hours, and I wake up the next morning refreshed and actually remembering what I studied. So really focusing on sleep, and then clubs. It really makes your all-around experience amazing. And I joined clubs my very first term right away. Within 5 weeks, I went on that DC trip, and it was the most amazing experience because I got to meet upper term students, and then they were able to help me through my problems. And then in 2nd term, I was on executive board for ASB and for our educational advancement committee, and I really jumped in right away, and I do not regret it because the people I get to meet, not just students but also faculty, really get involved, and it will change your whole educational experience.
That was good advice.
Yeah.
That was good advice. Seriously, nobody's used to taking 26 or 20 units, right? Nobody is. So your advice when you come in first try, be patient with yourself, learn to relax, stay socially involved because for many people you're moving here, you might be cutting some connections. So just start making new ones and get that support. I mean, that was great advice all around self-care. That was great.
Get your workouts in.
Makes a difference. There's a gym on campus. There's a couple, so workouts.
We're gonna have to take the last 3 minutes of this webinar and turn it into its own little remind people. This is what you should do. That was great advice.
Well, with that said, thank you all so much for your time. You guys have provided some excellent information to our prospective or incoming students, so we really appreciate it. Thank you. For those of you that have additional questions, again, you can always email us at admissions@scuhs.edu. We're also going to be having another webinar on November 15th. Please feel free to check the website for additional information. Be sure to register if you're not able to attend the live webinar. We are going to be posting this webinar as well as that one within the week. So please feel free to stay tuned. And again, we're here to help. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email us at admissions@scuhs.edu. Thank you and have a great day.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Bye.